Welcome to the village, Biava's tiny house village. It's a bigger house, so tonight I'm a little early because family time later. My youngest son is singing in a huge choir tonight at 7, so I'm offering you my wisdom and experience a little early. And this subject, the trigger button, needs to be explored because it just keeps coming up and up and up. And we're going to help you have freedom from the trigger button. We're going to help you release all that trauma and drama around the trigger button tonight. So, first, let me welcome my village. So come on in to the big house, the little house of love and peace and joy. And tonight is just a beautiful, warm night. I'm half dressed because it's really warm in here, and I put away my air conditioner, maybe too soon, but I got windows and doors open. So I want to start tonight. Get back, okay. Yeah, we want to bring in the energy of the universe on this subject because it all depends on your belief system, whether this topic will be freeing to you and helpful to you in the long run. Okay. Because what we're doing here, let me see, no, I want to bring in one of my avatars, edit avatar, to help us with the vibration. Yes, the sacred vibration of this prayer. If you're new here, you know the seven. Okay, the prayer of the seven galactic directions. Here we go. Uh, from the east, house of light. May wisdom dawn in us so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us so we may know all from within. That's where the kingdom is. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum hunabku evam maya imaho. Ayum hunabku evam maya imaho. Ayum hunabku evam maya imaho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So we begin tonight with a question about your beliefs about hell and heaven. Because when we talk about the triggers that bring heavy feelings, heavy reactions, anger, resentment, how dare you say that about me? How dare you say that to me? Trigger button activated. A lot of it draws from and can be explained by our belief in heaven or hell. I'm going to share with you more about how some of the people in my life who had a strong belief about heaven and hell out there just suffered greatly. Oh, suffered greatly. So I have two perspectives on the heaven and hell picture. Very short. One is heaven and hell, the esoteric meaning, and then a biblical better understanding, if you will. So the esoteric meaning of heaven and hell, what exactly is that? Let's take a listen to one perspective from Book of Wisdom 3.
Hell. Hell and heaven are not just mere places. They are states of being, energetic realms, governed by the laws of consciousness and spiritual alignment. Heaven represents a state of pure alignment with divine consciousness, peace, and enlightenment. It's a frequency of love, truth, and harmony. In this realm, there is no separation, no fear, and no suffering. Souls here are elevated, connected with their higher selves and the infinite source. Heaven is a state of pure awareness, unity, and bliss, where one's spiritual essence transcends ego and material desires, merging with the divine. Hell, on the other hand, is not a place of fire and brimstone as many imagine, but a state of disconnection, suffering, and egoic bondage. It is the result of living in fear, hatred, anger, and ignorance, disconnected from one's higher spiritual essence. Hell is where souls are trapped by their lower vibrations, where they are subject to the consequences of their actions, self-imposed suffering from attachment, judgment, and separation. It is the illusionary prison created by the mind, a realm of darkness that can only be escaped through awakening to one's true nature. Both heaven and hell exist within us. They are reflections of our consciousness, the way we align with the universe's natural laws. Our actions, thoughts, and emotions determine which realm we experience. When we align with truth, love, and the divine, we enter heaven. When we live in fear, separation, and ego, we descend into hell. In the end, heaven and hell are not external realms. They are internal states of consciousness that we continuously shape and create. The path is clear. Elevate your vibration, align with your higher self, and you will ascend into the realm of heaven, here and now. Save video before it's gone. So what's the real meaning of heaven and hell? Hell and heaven are not just mere places. They are states of being, energetic realms, governed by the laws of consciousness and spiritual alignment. Heaven represents a state of pure alignment with divine consciousness, peace, and enlightenment. It's a frequency of love, truth, and harmony. In this realm, there is no separation, no fear, and no suffering. Souls here are elevated, connected with their higher selves and the infinite source. Heaven is a state of pure awareness, unity, and bliss, where one's spiritual essence transcends ego and material desires, merging with the divine. Hell, on the other hand, is not a place of fire and brimstone as many imagine, but a state of disconnection, suffering, and egoic bondage. It is the result of living in fear, hatred, anger, and ignorance, disconnected from one's higher spiritual essence. Hell is where souls are trapped by their lower vibrations, where they are subject to the consequences of their actions, self-imposed suffering from attachment, judgment, and separation. It is the illusionary prison created by the mind, a realm of darkness that can only be escaped through awakening to one's true nature. Both heaven and hell exist within us. They are reflections of our consciousness, the way we align with the universe's natural laws. Our actions, thoughts, and emotions determine which realm we experience. When we align with truth, love, and the divine, we enter heaven. When we live in fear, separation, and ego, we descend into hell. In the end, heaven and hell are not external realms. They are internal states of consciousness that we continuously shape and create. The path is clear. Elevate your vibration, align with your higher self, and you will ascend into the realm of heaven, here and now.
Now, that's just one perspective that I want you to consider as we go through this hour. Just one perspective. I know there's a lot of you out there who think this is blasphemy. Blasphemy. How could they talk about these aligning with truth and the light of the Most High? It's okay. I understand. But this is where I have evolved to understand hell and heaven. After being born into the Christian church, with my grandfather and sanctified preaching and all that. So 50 years later, I decided, there must be something else to this story. So here's a perspective of Billy Carson. He's very spiritual, esoteric thinking. And he gives another perspective of heaven and hell being a state of mind. Okay, here we go. Go, Billy. 11:11.
It's a self-preservation thing. People are actually afraid of dying and suffering for all eternity in this imaginary lake of fire. What I began to realize the more I analyzed ancient texts and tablets and scriptures and cylinder scrolls and papyruses and biblical canonized texts was that heaven and hell is a state of mind. The more ancient sages and wisdom keepers that I went and met all around the world and talked to and sat with in the bushes and everything else, it's all about a state of mind. And that people that believe in the religious texts as being a real heaven and a real hell, and the hell being the biggest fear factor of it all. So if I'm doing this ritualistic acts on a daily basis and begging this outside source to forgive and save me all the time and trying to time it just right so I don't be cast into this eternal lake of fire and suffering for all eternity and all time's sake, what's really happening is I'm more worried about saving my own skin than really the religion. The religion is just the side thing there that happens to be around. And so it's a self-preservation thing. People are actually afraid of dying and suffering for all eternity in this imaginary lake of fire. What I began to realize the more I analyzed ancient texts and tablets and scriptures and cylinder scrolls and papyruses and biblical canonized texts was that heaven and hell is a state of mind. The more ancient sages and wisdom keepers that I went and met all around the world and talked to and sat with in the bushes and everything else, it's all about a state of mind. And that people that believe in the religious texts as being a real heaven and a real hell, and the hell being the biggest fear factor of it all. So if I'm doing this ritualistic acts on a daily basis and begging this outside source to forgive and save me all the time and trying to time it just right so I don't be cast into this eternal lake of fire and suffering for all eternity and all time's sake, what's really happening is I'm more worried about saving my own skin than really the religion. The religion is just the side thing there that happens to be around.
So Billy Carson is someone who has studied a lot, read a lot, written a lot. He's written books and all that. So his perspective is always very interesting for me because he has experience traveling all over the world. And so I think it pays to hear that voice in our journey to evolve from hell is a place, heaven is a place. And when I look at the Muslim community, especially where there are all these prayers and prayers to Allah, and to me, they have suffered more than any group of people, it seems, Christians too. But I look at the people who are suffering versus those who are not. And I know some of you are saying, well, look at all the wicked rich people who are not suffering. Remember, it's a state of mind. And I am absolutely sure that all this wickedness we're seeing in these men, this system we've been in, the patriarchal system, their minds have gone crazy. They've lost their minds. That's the part of it. State of mind. I think I have one more that I want to show you before we go into triggers. That trigger button, how it can put us into hell. And if we have a belief, biblical belief about hell, then that trigger button usually puts us in hell. So let me show this one. I think I have one more. Heaven and hell spiritual definition. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so those are the two perspectives. And I think we can conclude from those two perspectives that if we are evolving spiritually, if we are learning and growing, that we see hell and heaven not as someplace out there, up there, over there, but actually someplace in here, a state of mind. And I have seen it so much in this year. It's like crazy. Well, this is the year of chaos and revelation. The creator, Trump, is revealing all evil and at the same time revealing all truth. This year has been a whirlwind of truth and evil coming at you, coming at you. So lately, though, seeing all these people being triggered and getting angry. Trigger anger, trigger fighting. You bitch, why'd you call me a bitch? Trigger anger, fighting, madness. It's like, what is going on here? And I think what's going on is we are starting to experience the hell that we are creating with our trigger button being pushed. So the trigger button, let's think back again on the esoteric. We got some comments here too. Let's think back on the esoteric meaning of heaven and hell, and how does triggering create one or the other? That's what our the trigger button. Is it a key to better life and freedom? Or is it just a lesson to blame the other person for making you mad? You know, we do that a lot, don't we? You made me mad. You made me mad. In fact, I have to share a grandson story. My grandson has triggered me a lot this year, in fact, because he's in a dual home situation, one parent at one house, one parent at the other. And he comes here and, hey, grandma tells him what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I hate you. I hate you. And so at one point it really triggered me. And, why do you hate me? I'm over that now. I'm over that. I'm talking to a 9-year-old in a very dysfunctional situation. And I realize it's not me. It's not me. Because I've been working on me for about 30 years now to come out of these hateful, resenting situations. And so I'm so done with being triggered in anger and resentment and all the hell that it creates. Because the truth is, and I'm going to bring in the comments here. The truth is, the triggers are allowing you to feel heavy emotions. Feel heavy emotions like, why did he do that? Sadness. Why did he call me? Why did he call me? Why is he hating me? To feel heavy emotions like your subconscious traumas that you haven't healed, mommy and daddy issues come up when you get triggered. I remember my mommy did that to me. How could you do that to me? And then it's an opportunity to let go of the hell. But if you're thinking hell is out there and over there, it's going to be a struggle of sorts. So let me just read a few comments. Four Walls TV says, good topic. Thank you, Four Walls TV. A peace sign. Okay, we love the peace sign. And let's see, who's this? Oh, Dr. Gloria Sosa is joining us. She says, knowing the truth leads to forgiveness and acceptance. It balances the elements. Religions bring different perspectives depending on what the specific denomination interpretation of the Bible. So true, as you thank you, Dr. Sosa. Very true. This is where we are. Let's have an open discussion, open analysis of why certain people get triggered and into anger, bitterness, and resentment versus, okay, let me just meditate on that. Let me think about that. And she says, pain and sufferings is not a punishment from God. No, we create our own hell. There we go. This is it. This is where we are. And she says, enlightenment sets you free. Of course, we got you, Dr. Sosa. No typing errors here. So tonight, in this short time we have together, we want you to feel the enlightenment of coming out of hell. We want you to feel the freedom of not reacting with anger, bitterness, hate when someone pushes your trigger button. And what is the trigger button? The trigger button is really your traumas, your subconscious traumas, wounds, hurts that are still there. They're still in there. So when I trigger you, and by the way, I'm probably the queen of triggering. Some people call me the queen of triggering because for a while I was all about apologies. Someone said, well, why did you do that to me? And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And now I'm more like, yeah, I did mean to do that because triggers bring up the bad traumas, the traumas that need healing, the memories that need healing, the feelings of rejection, for instance, and the uncomfortable emotions that we're still holding on to. Yes. And Dr. Sosa says the person's shadows are the trigger button. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. Thank you. We got all ways to describe these trigger buttons tonight. Thanks to Dr. Sosa, myself, and anyone else who has experienced what we're going through right now. So we have quite a few young people on X, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, who are being triggered into hell. I mean, literally into hell, because what's happening, people are bringing out guns now when they're triggered. And what does that do when you pull out a gun? You're triggered. Someone calls you the B word or the N word. We don't want to be called the N word. Just call them ninja, and that's safer. Call them a ninja. You might not get killed. But if we call each other creative, powerful words, then maybe they won't get triggered. But then let's say you do get triggered. I saw a video today, I think it was. They come on every day. A woman approached another girl. It was more like a girl in school or something. And she said, so you calling me the N word, B? And the girl was like, well, no, I really didn't do that. Yeah, you did. You did mean to call me. So this girl was being triggered by being called a word that is used freely in the Black community for sure, and used freely in music and everywhere else. But when a girl calls you, a girl who might even be prettier than you, calls you the N word or whatever, and then you get angry and you punch her in the face. Now, in high school or school, you're going to be suspended for sure if someone saw that, right? But if you're pulling out a gun to react to the triggers and the feeling, the uncomfortable feelings that come up when you're called a ninja or a bee or any word, the words are the real triggers, right? We have heard these words used in such a negative way in our lifetime that we associate them with us personally. And as I did last week with the 4 agreements, the second agreement is so important to meditate on, and that is don't take anything personally. It's really not about you. If someone calls you an N word, a B word, whatever uncomfortable energy that they project onto you, is it really about you or them not, first of all, having a vocabulary to express what they really mean? Or what is it really about them, the person using this negative language? Is it really about them being angry and resentful and hateful? It's really not about you when you're targeted with negative energy. That's what we have to continually remind ourselves in this evolutionary community, the synchronistic human family, especially. I have to put up Neb Taharka's link because we had such a powerful session this morning. Every Sunday morning, we have a powerful teaching from Neb Taharka, the founder of Synchronistic Human. It was so enlightening. I was practically flying out of here after that teaching. So I'm gonna have to find his link. And these are the type of people we need in our lives. Let's see, Zelda. These are the type of people we need in our lives to help us stay in alignment with love, joy, peace, which is what? Heaven. And that's what the triggering, when the trigger button is pushed, Dr. Sue, don't take it personally and don't make assumptions. That's another for agreement that we should. I recommend everybody get that book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel, because it's so simple and yet so helpful to keep us in heaven mode. Remember, we're talking about heaven and hell being a state of mind. So when you react in a negative way to words that are come at you, and you get upset and angry and pull out a gun or a fist or whatever, you're going into hell mode. And that's the mode that is a low frequency. And it's all about stored traumas that need to come out. So if you find yourself being triggered into anger, resentment, hatred, guess what? It's time to pause, close your eyes, just close your eyes. Somebody attacks you with words. That's usually where it starts. Just take a moment, deep breath. Deep breath. Where is this coming from? Where is this anger, resentment, hate coming from? Unfortunately, people are not doing that moment of deep breathing. And so we're seeing people dying, actually dying, because the gun comes out instead of the breath going in and out. A gun comes out because for some reason, this is what our youth are being taught is the way to resolve conflicts. And they're being taught this is the way to deal with trauma buttons. Kill with words or the fist or a gun. Take that in for just a moment. That's where we are in our society, unfortunately. And that means we have limiting beliefs about the world we live in. Because if you're in a religious mind that says, well, if you're a good Christian and you believe Jesus is going to save you and you're going to heaven, you might do anything because you're going to heaven up there. And we never think about the state of mind that we will be in if our soul doesn't leave this body right away, and you're creating low frequency situations, living in fear. Fear is a big one. Living in fear that someone just attacked you with words, and if you don't fight them back, you're going to look stupid or you're going to be embarrassed. So you're living in fear, which the consequences of reacting to that low frequency energy is going to be suffering and pain. So I have a friend who is now in hospice, and I have observed him for several years now, reacting with a lot of anger to situations. I mean, even a situation I remember where a dog next door kept barking and coming on his side of the grass where he lived. And he would just get so angry about, why is that dog over here? Why didn't that dog stay over there? And I would go like, calm down. It's just a dog. Just talk to the dog. Hi, doggy. And we don't even, I had another friend who did that. When he came to visit me and with my tiny house in the country, there were dogs everywhere. I mean, those dogs were crazy. I just would ignore them. They were always barking at me, and I'd be like, what's the problem? But I would never go like, oh, get out of here. This guy got out of the car and he was cursing the dog because the dog was barking at him. And I just like, what the? So that was one of those moments. That was one of those moments when I realized, okay, he has had a trauma of some kind, an experience that really caused him to be uncomfortable and in fear about dogs. So his reaction is, I'm going to curse out the dog. And if that dog had come near him, he probably would have kicked him because that's how mad he was. And so Dr. Sosa is asking, where did we learn our behaviors? Great question. Where do we learn these behaviors? Usually in childhood. I would say because we have what's called ACEs scores, adverse childhood experiences, that have researched why people get diseases in their adulthood because of a list of things that happen in their childhood. They call it the ACEs score, adverse childhood experiences. So my answer to that would be most of it's learned in their childhood, and maybe even in the womb if we go back that far. We can go back that far because if mom is constantly, while she's pregnant, she's downloading all these negative emotions of fear, anger, bitterness, guess what? The chemistry of those emotions will be downloaded into that child's cells, and their activity in their body is going to be about energy of fear, anger, whatever mom was thinking or feeling is going to be in that baby or that child. So thank you. Oh, that was Kwame. I'm sorry. Kwame asked that question. I got Dr. Sosa. Where do we learn our behaviors? And thank you, Kwame, for bringing that up because military experience. Kwame's a veteran, Vietnam veteran. And not only do we learn it in our childhood, but when you go, I'm seeing this with my veterans, my ex-husband, my former spouse was a Vietnam veteran. I know Kwame's experience, and then I know my friend, another friend who I got like at least four veterans, baby boomer veterans in my life who I've observed that military training takes away your soul on one level is what I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kwame. But there's a book I have called Soul Repair. It's written by two women who had fathers who were in the Vietnam War. And they write about the trauma in their household, the dysfunctional household they had, which is usually the case for some veterans after the war. PTSD kicks in, revs up, shows up because it's a damage to the soul level. And so when we ask where do they learn their behavior, well, it starts in childhood. And I've also learned that most men who have PTSD had a very traumatic or dysfunctional family situation, abusive family situation, so that again the trigger button will release the trauma from the childhood, but it also doubles when it comes to going into the military. That trigger button of childhood wounds and abuse, and then the reality of military training, kill, 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 war, 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 and then even the drugs that are involved. I'm learning that a friend of mine who I didn't know all the story, but he was on drugs after Vietnam too. It's a lot of our combat veterans were addicted to drugs. So the trauma is very deep in men, military men, I believe, veterans especially, and in children who just come from abusive homes and families. It's a little less deep, maybe, but still, the right trigger push will bring it all out. Hate, anger, bitterness, gun, who knows? Boom, 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 you're out because you triggered me. So let's see. I'm gonna try and keep up with the comments. Okay, Kwame says ACE, then stop being a jokers in life. I think the adverse child experience says stop being a jokers in life is a natural. If you don't get the therapy from the ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences, then you're going to be a joker in life, right? I think even so much as my sister-in-law passed recently, last year, early this year, I forget, time's going. She was very overweight. She didn't go to her father's funeral at all, and I suspect there was a lot of abuse there, not just physical, but sexual abuse there, because she was extremely overweight and so many other signs there that told me that she never healed from, and she never talked about it, but she was a joker. She was always telling jokes. That's what this is reminding me of. Kwame, correct me if I'm getting this message wrong, but she would laugh all the time. But there was this deep hurt, and she died from an embolism. Serious. I mean, her obesity was a part of the problem, but there was always jokes coming out of her. Every time I saw her, she would be laughing. She would make jokes about everything. And I suspect there was deep hurt. And so her way of dealing with her trauma was to make a joke out of it, which I think is, well, in some ways it was healthier than pulling out a gun or cursing someone out. But still, she never dealt with that trauma because the end of her life was a lot of suffering. So we are at a place now where we need to be conscious. Consciousness is what's going to heal the trigger button negativity, where we throw ourselves into hell because of the way we react. And Higher Learning Network, this is my sister, Zelda says, good afternoon, beautiful, bold, bodacious woman. Thank you. This needs to be taught in elementary schools. Thanks for eye-opening information. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, in my show about last week about conflict resolution, this goes along with needs to be in elementary school. We forget high school. Let's bring it all the way down to elementary. We can teach it in a way that even elementary students would understand. We have to start there. It's gotten so out of hand with single mothers raising children who are now so disrespectful to anybody, not just seniors, but everybody. And Kwame says, yeah, laugh to keep from crying. Yep, that's where we are. The trigger button will either create laughter and jokes, or it will create anger, hate, and resentment, and reactions of violence. That's what we're seeing a lot of. So just let us be in a mind of consciousness, being aware that anytime you say something, words of love that you intend to be loved, and someone reacts, pause, take a deep breath, and just observe their behavior when you trigger them. And this class today, this conversation today, thank you, Kwame and Zelda and Dr. Sosa, for chiming in to create the solutions that we are now aware that when people get triggered, it's not a bad thing at all, because it will help them let go of the hell that comes up. We have a choice. When we get triggered, we can stay in the hell. Remember, it's a state of mind. If you heard the 2 videos in the beginning, hell and heaven are really more of a state of mind. If you are not in a religious teaching mode, they're really states of mind. And that's why this pastor who passed recently, he taught about hell, where nobody's going to hell, because we're all here on assignment. We're learning lessons. And one thing that helps us come out of the hell is the breath. So one of the things we can do to our friends or family that react when the trigger button is pushed is ask them to take a deep breath. Now they might say, I don't want to take a deep breath. I want to just be angry, blah, 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 blah. Then you just wait. You have to wait. Don't argue. Please don't argue. We don't want it to get worse. But part of the solution, the trigger buttons creating this negative, low frequency of fear, anger, resentment, hate, guns, whatever, is to say, okay, take a deep breath, real soft. A soft answer can calm the hate and the anger. I think that's a scripture. Soft answer. Don't get into a fight, though. If we are the conscious ones, we can observe the push button reaction and say, take a deep breath. And then maybe we can ask them, what happened? Why are you angry? Why are you hate? Why are you feeling this energy right now? What's going on? They may not be able to explain what's going on, but that's okay. We just don't want to give in to the hate and the anger and the bitterness and the fear, because it's so much of it going on right now. So it has to end with us. And Kwame says, taking a first breath is called birth. Absolutely. Yes. In fact, someone today, I saw a video today, they were talking about the tetragrammaton of the name that's given in the Hebrew Bible, Yod He Vav He, actually represents inhale, the Yah or the Yud in the name is inhale, which is life and love, and then exhale, way, Yahu, Ahuah, is an exhale of letting go, letting go. It's an exhale. The name Yod He Vav He, Yahuwah, Yah, inhale, inhale, and then Yahuwah, Uwah. The vowels go Uwah, is exhale, let go. You might be able to help your person you're talking to, a friend, get into that breath mode of inhale love, life, and exhale conflict, trauma, pain, suffering. And then what you're doing, what has happened is, because people are not aware of what Kwame is saying here, taking a first breath called birth, they're out of alignment with their creator's love and life. Because who gives and takes away the breath is the creator of the universe. The vibration of love, when that baby's ready to come out of the womb, they're going to come out and go, so that first breath, that's the beginning of the earth journey, where guess what? We're gonna get triggered. Yay, we're gonna get triggered. Yay, we're gonna get triggered. Yay. Somebody should make a song about that so we lighten it up again. And Zelda says jokes are often used to disguise pain and trauma. Hey, yeah, I saw that so clearly with my sister-in-law. Every time I could just see, when she, even the sense of being triggered, she would make a joke out of it, and her pain and trauma back in her subconscious, it back. So that's not always a good thing, because her body just totally became so inflamed at the end of her life. And I think it was because of all that, those jokes, that she was pushing back the trauma and the pain of her probably sexual abuse with her father. That's my guess, allegedly. But that's where we can become the therapists, the healers, the friends, the loving energy that they need to raise their vibration when the trigger button is hit. So the thing is, when people are leaving this planet because of their reactions to triggers, for me and for those of you who are maybe witnessing that behavior, it's a chance for us to bloom and grow. The soul is what's leaving, not the personality that you came to know in this person. So the soul, right? The soul is the one that makes the decision, time to go out of this body, goodbye. And so I want to help some of you who might be triggered by death or transition of a loved one. That's a big one. That's a big one for many people I've known, who get angry because someone left them. Someone departed, their soul departed, and they were angry. How could they leave me? So that goes into abandonment issues, which is trigger point button activity. A lot of people get triggered because someone abandoned them. If a wife decides she doesn't want to be with a husband anymore, boy, that brings up some anger sometimes. Why? Because their parents left them, or a past wife left them, anybody past left them. And so anger, push, trigger, I'm leaving you, I want a divorce, whatever the reason, trigger, another rejection, another abandonment. But it's all meant to help us grow and evolve and find peace. So Kwame says there's a sacred place between inhale and exhale. Absolutely. So let us get into that sacred place right now, where we can actually experience what many people are not experiencing these days. I'm going to see if I can find the music I was listening to earlier, that really says, okay, we'll just do Kaya meditation. It really says, get into the sacred place. Inhale, inhale. And we can do like a 4-7-8. Inhale through the nose by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold it for 7. And then exhale for 8. 4-7-8. Where we go into that sacred place. Inhale 4, and then the sacred place is 7. The number 7 is a sacred place. And then let go. Think about all the times you've been triggered and you didn't go into a peaceful, sacred place because you didn't know better. What does Maya Angelou say? If we know better, we do better. So let us, from this point on, share this video with friends and family, and hopefully they're going to know better. And we can stop some of this violence that we're seeing, that people are getting triggered because of words, basically. Words, mostly words flying everywhere, and people, going crazy. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it in that sacred place of 7. And then let go. Let go and find your peace. And realize that trauma that you experience, it's in the past. So part of coming out of hell in your mind and moving into heaven is staying in the present moment with your breath. Inhaling, 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 holding that sacred space of 7, and then letting go with 8, a new beginning. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose for 4. Hold it for 7, a sacred place, and then let go. Exhale, aligning with the Creator's love, purpose, evolution coming from that exhale. A new person arising. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, inhale, and then hold it in that sacred place of 7. And then exhaling and letting go of all that trauma from the past. It's all in the past. Staying in the present moment with the breath and the sacred place that will heal us. When you consciously do your breath work, the Yod-Heh Vav-Heh is ready to heal you. Because it's a choice to go into the breath work of sacred space versus reacting with hate, anger, bitterness, resentment, and all those low frequency emotions. Inhaling and wait on them. Let the sacred space heal the trauma, the subconscious memory. Let that sacred space take away the pain from mommy and daddy. Take it away. You've been holding it way too long. Mommy and daddy were very imperfect people because their parents were imperfect and their parents were imperfect. If we go back far enough, we will realize there were no loving parents around too much. If we have been in a trigger button mode of hate and anger and bitterness, we have brought forth all those pains and suffering from our great grandparents. And now we can do the breath work and hold it in that sacred space of 7. And let the Creator, let your ancestors heal you now. The ancestors have been healed. They're gone. They're ready to heal us now. Let the ancestors take over in that space of 7 and bring healing balm. The balm of Gilead, the balm that helps you let go and stay in the present moment. Inhaling, holding that sacred space of 7. Oh, it feels so much better than the low frequency of hate, anger, bitterness. Bring in the love energy, the joy of being in the present moment and able to breathe and hold that sacred space. Be in the moment of gratitude. Breathe in gratitude. Hold that space and let the Creator heal the past wounds. And then let go of all that pain and suffering. If you do this more and more each day, you will see the results of the trigger button having no effect on you other than to bring you into an awareness of how blessed you are and how peaceful you are and how joyful you are about everything. So Zelda says, Baba Kwame hit nail on the head about the breath. How about a trigger breath? Yay! Trigger breath, here we go. That's the key. That's the solution is every time you feel yourself going into hate, resentment, anger, bitterness, get your trigger breath going. 4 in, hold that sacred space. Inhale to exhale. That's right. Because remember, state of mind. When you evolve out of religious teachings, hell is not somewhere where you're going, and heaven is not somewhere where you're going. It's all in here. Because when you look at your pineal gland and all the crystals in the brain, we have crystals including pineal gland. There are crystals in the brain. And throughout our body, our bones are representing a high frequency. So if you are choosing to not align with this high frequency of crystals in your body, of the breath in your body, of a kingdom in your body, then that's when hell shows up. You're out of alignment with what is already inside of you. Love, crystals, joy, peace. It's already in there. So what brings it out? Inhale, exhale. Take the X out, exhale out by the exhale. Inspire, as they say in French, and expire. Expire the hell out. Inspire, be inspired by your breath, by your crystals in your brain and your eyes, your ears, all over, these diamonds inside of you, this perfect kingdom inside of you. Activated. Every time that button is pressed, it's an opportunity to go into alignment with your true self. Because usually what happens when that trigger button is pressed, you forget who you are. Trigger button, ninja, you stupid ninja, you blah, 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 blah. And you forget, because of words, you forget who you are. This queen, this goddess, this powerful superwoman, superman. You forget and you react to the person who has the issues. Don't take it personally. Please don't take it personally. It's not worth it. So I am on my way to tonight. I'm on my way to my youngest son's choir, first choir performance. And let me just pull up my banner. If you have gotten anything out of this, please like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And if you feel like you want to donate to Beata, this hashtag VIETTA Robinson Cash App. And we're still accepting donations for Mama AZ, who is in the middle of an eviction battle and trying to find her peace there with all the people who are battling her. And let me tell you that as a senior citizen, Mama AZ gets triggered a lot. But she has been one of the people in my life to constantly remind herself that she has a purpose on this earth. and that she's going to go into gratitude instead of cursing and yelling. She's getting so much better with that. So I'm praising her. So if you want to donate to Mama AZ, send a cash app to me and I with her name, Mama AZ, and we're gonna send it right to her. And don't forget that my book is available on my website. Let me bring that up because there are just so many people. I have actually dropped out of a lot of the breast cancer groups. Not a lot. I dropped out of one today because there are just so many women who want to highlight their bald head and the pink ribbon. And I'm just not into that. No, I'm not. Remember, I'm the trigger queen. So if I go on there and say there's a better way, and you don't really have to lose your hair, and no, they don't want to hear that. And that's my truth. You don't. If there is a better way than losing your hair and going into hell. Chemotherapy is hell. You cannot tell me that putting poison in this temple, this sacred temple, is not a hellish experience. Every single one of the women, that's why they have these support groups, because when you're in hell, you need support. Really, that's the honest truth. So this book that I wrote is about preventing that hell. If you don't want to go into hell, you want to get out of the hell, read this book, because it's all about prevention. And all the people the Most High showed me why they were in the cancer mode, and then I show you how to come out of it. But yeah, I thought about that earlier today, how your choice of treatment when you have a disease to cut, burn, or poison will bring hell to your body. Not just this, but your body. You're constantly feeling like you're going to die, and you have to fight that. So the hell journey here is a battle. Just like I'm sure even Kwame and all my veterans would say that Moma Z or Moma Z. Okay, Mama AZ is calling in. I'm gonna let her talk. I'll let you talk in a minute. But I'm sure that my veterans would say, like, war is hell. That's what happens when the cut, burn, poison takes over in the oncologist's office, sick care system. You go into hell. And I just think some people need to experience that so they can come back to the alignment with the Creator's love, compassion, that you don't have to go to hell. But if you choose to go into the sick care system, you're going to experience hell. So some people just need to have that hell experience while they're on earth. And it has probably to do with karma. And Kwame says most weapons have a lock on the trigger. Okay, you gotta. Is that? I guess that means you do have a choice. And Higher Learning Network, she says, went to a breast cancer awareness gala last night and saw so many beautiful bald women who rocked. Rexall system is in full effect. Yes, it is. And it's like when you go to that type of event, all you can do is be supportive. You're not going to judge or criticize, because those women have chosen to go to hell. That's what, because it wasn't heaven when they went through the hair loss and all that. Believe me, it was hell. And then you finally get through the hell. My hair starts growing back. And guess what? The reality is, from my experience with my relatives, your heart's weak now. You're going to have a battle now to keep your heart pumping at a normal rate. Or some other organ will rise up to teach you hell in the body. So I'm just not there. That's why I trigger people in this journey, because I cannot be anything but honest about what that means to choose cut, burn, poison versus courage and discipline. There's discipline. There's a book I have called The Truth About Cancer. There's another book I have about I Love Cancer. There's so many books I have about people who went the natural route and they learned to love the journey. Now, anyway, so let me say, Mama AZ, your mic is open.
Peace, Dr. Peace, family. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Dr. V, thank us Thank you. Peace, Brother Kwame. Peace to all of my family. Well, I thank you for that compliment and that confirmation. It's no matter what may be going on. Yesterday, I was guided to go and clip some rosemary uh, for some rosemary spray for my hair. Way I was guided to go to my tree, and two of the teens were out there. By the way, family, they got in the order that I've been writing nasty stuff on the tree. Oh my God! And running people over with my wheelchair. This is in the court description, okay? But it's okay. What I learned from those tenants yesterday, it is so sad. To be bullied like that. And in my younger days, we're going to have to do a show about this. I am so grateful to be on this planet, Dr. V, because being triggered at this time is really helping me to air my balls up and become the spirit master, the mission that I came here to County to be a part of. And I'm just giving thanks to Russell Murphy, Miss Mary, and all the others to want to throw me up under the bus. I'm still here. And no matter what, as long as I'm warm, I got my hospital bed and my mattress, I can tent on it. And I learned yesterday that I'm here for a very sacred purpose. And I understand that now. I mean, truly. And I understand that. So sometimes you just have to shut the you know what up and talk to Source, Most High, and be quality family, especially women, because now it's the feminine element that is needed. But if the women are so distorted and disjointed, they can't do the healing that they came to the planet to do.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm so grateful, Dr. V, for this platform. So no matter what happens on Thursday, and one other thing I want to add, I find it interesting that all of these summons and eviction notices, I give thanks to Brother Eddie Harris, the numbers guru. I've been paying attention. It's deep. And like my court date, look this up. The Miracle Valley shooting that same day on the 23rd of October. And I'm like, what? And the eviction notice, the first one, was presented to me on my Earth Day.
So maybe we should do a show that's Thursday, the 23rd, to talk about that. Because that's a significant day, Mama AZ. And you're right about the women. More women. I saw a video of a guy said more women are getting STDs because they're acting more free in their sexuality than usual. Then, especially back in the day, it was men have always been promiscuous, okay, but now the women are just out there acting
No.
promiscuous, and the result of the consequence is STDs are exploding. Okay, so this is why the seniors, we seniors, baby boomers, we got to refire right now because these young people are out of control. They've lost it. They need our wisdom badly, and so that's why I do what I do. This is like a hobby for me because I know it's needed. But yeah, we all need to refire in our older years to help these young people because they have really lost their direction these days.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
didn't know this.
Yeah, especially Houston, Atlanta are two of the areas I keep hearing that from. That the women are the STDs are exploding in those areas because women are just too pest or too free these days. So thank you for sharing that. Let's talk about a show for Thursday and bring in all that history that you love to talk about with the pastor and all that because the 23rd, the spiritual energy for that number alone. And today, even today, I was listening to Neb Taharka on the synchronistic human family, and he said something, and I looked at the clock, it was 11:11, and everybody noticed he was talking about synchronicity and evolving and all that, and everybody in the chat was noticing it's 11:11, it's 11:11. So that made us pay attention, especially to what he was saying, which was like fire. It was like fire. So I'm grateful that you, Mama Az, and so many of my friends and family, sisters, brothers, pay attention to the language of the universe, which is numbers. And even my grandson's starting to pay attention. That boy, you know how that boy is, Mama Az. He's teaching me a lot of things on so many levels that I can only be grateful. Not triggered at all anymore, just grateful.
I told you, he asked to come here to be one of your gurus, your teachers, and know and the same thing. When my dad came to me in a dream and told me to connect with Russell Murphy about it in his dream, I couldn't believe it when I rode in his yard. It was like my dad's yard. And I said, you can't make this up. So thank us.
Yeah, and even my sister Zelda, higher learning, she had the opportunity to swim with my grandson. I don't know, were you swimming with stingrays, I think, in the pool? And I think about that moment was so special for everybody because I felt comfortable letting him go off with her. She learned some things from that little 9. Well, he was actually 8 or 7 or 8 at the time, but he is such a force of teaching and consciousness that we have to pay attention. We just got to pay, even if they're 7, 8, or 9 years old. Pay attention. If they
greetings, Sister Zelda. Greetings. Thank us, Dr. V. I'm going to sign off.
All right, thank us. Yeah, I'm off too. I'm going to listen to choir. The unit. I hope they sing the unity song. It gives me chills. But he is involved in a community choir, like has 100 people singing. So we sit there for a whole hour and just enjoy the harmony of voices, and it's just beautiful. So that's where I'm off to. Thank you all for joining. I apologize for such a short notice, but I was trying to debate whether to do a later show after his performance, or so here we are, giving thanks that we all have experienced this moment together. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. Join Zelda tomorrow, Higher Learning Network on YouTube with the Female Solution. And stay in peace and joy. And whatever you do, when trigger comes, smile and say, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to align with the Creator's love, joy, and peace, and breathe for a while before I respond to any triggers. So, namaste, Sat Nam, Ashe, Ashe O, Ohotep, Hotep, and Shalom. Love you all. Have a great one.